A young couple vanished after buying a patch of wilderness from a Craigslist ad, and no one ever asked why. Turns out they weren't victims of nature, but test subjects in a hidden frequency experiment run by something far more sinister than the government. 13 years later, a forgotten drone and a sister who refused to let go exposed what was never meant to surface. But just listen to how this chilling mystery unraveled, and why, in the end, justice made its way through the static. They needed out. Ben's construction hours had been cut. Katie's freelance gigs dried up. Vegas felt like a trap made of dust and bills. So when the Craigslist post popped up, 5 acres of forest for the price of a used sofa, they didn't hesitate. The seller used only a first name, Rick. The email had no signature, no phone number, just GPS coordinates and the words, "cash only, no questions." Most people would have called it a scam. Ben called it a weird kind of fate. Katie sat cross-legged on their second-hand couch, biting a pencil. "You think it's real?" Ben, shirtless and pacing, nodded. "I think it's ours. Or it will be." She grinned. "This is the dumbest, most romantic thing you've ever done." "I've done dumber." "True." They kissed, sealed it. The next morning they crammed gear into the Ford Ranger. Tent, tools, matches, canned beans, Ben's dad's old Colt, and a camcorder Katie had bought for $30 at a pawn shop. "We filmed the whole thing," she said, "for fun, or for proof. In case we disappear." Ben laughed. "If we vanish, who's gonna watch it?" They left a voicemail for Ben's brother. "Off-grid for a weekend. No service. Don't worry unless we're not back Monday." They never made it to Monday. The drive took 6 hours. The last 90 minutes were brutal. Uphill gravel, switchbacks, washed-out paths. No signs, no fences, no cell signal. Katie checked the coordinates again. "It says we're here." But there was nothing. Just trees. Endless. Beautiful. Swallowing. "You sure this isn't government land?" "No fences. No cameras. I think this is legit." "Legit sketchy," she muttered. They pitched their tent near a cluster of rocks that looked vaguely like a fire ring. Katie filmed Ben hammering stakes, panning to capture the thick, towering trees. "Day 1, she said into the camera. "We're either in paradise or the opening act of a murder podcast." At sunset, Ben lit a fire. They shared baked beans and beef jerky. Katie snuck a flask of whiskey, handed it over. They toasted. "To land we don't understand." "To finding peace," Ben added. They lay under the stars. No Wi-Fi, no traffic, just each other. Then came the sound. It started as vibration. A low pulse they felt in their spines before their ears caught it. A subsonic thrum. Constant. Ancient. Mechanical. Katie sat up. "Ben." "I hear it." He grabbed the camcorder and powered it on. The red light blinked. The trees were swaying. But there was no wind. Katie pointed. "Look." A shape crossed the moonlight. Too fast, too smooth. A shadow without mass. The hum grew louder. Ben whispered, "Is that—" Then the feed glitched. Crack, static, then black. 13 years later, Mason clicked play. The couple's last smile. The shadow. The cut. And millions watched it from their phones, wondering if it was real. But one person knew. Rachel paused the clip. Zoomed in. Frame by frame. That scarf. She remembered buying it for Katie at a Ren fair. No one fakes a detail like that. Not for a viral stunt. She called the thrift shop listed in Mason's video description. No answer. She DM'd him twice. No response. So she drove. 3 hours later, she pounded on his apartment door. "Mason! Open the damn door!" The knob twisted slowly. But it wasn't Mason. And behind whoever answered, a voice whispered from the hallway. "Shouldn't have watched the footage." The door slammed. Rachel screamed. And from inside, something growled. Not quite human, not quite machine, but listening. Rachel didn't blink. Her finger gripped the phone so tight it left a red groove in her skin. "Coordinates. Give them to me." On the other end, Uncle Ed exhaled. "Rachel, that place, it's wrong. The trees echo. You hear voices that ain't yours." She cut him off. "I don't care. Text it." He hung up. 30 seconds later, the numbers appeared on her screen. She showed them to Mason. "We're going." Mason hesitated. "I'm not sure that's smart." She turned to him like a weapon. "You posted it. You unleashed it. You're coming." They packed in 20 minutes. Mason grabbed the drone, laptop, a flashlight, and the drone controller. Rachel loaded a crowbar into her backpack without comment. Mason noticed. Planning to fight a tree? Planning not to die. They drove in silence. Mason's hands trembled on the wheel. Rachel kept watching the rearview mirror. At the 1-hour mark, a car started tailing them. Black, unmarked, lights off. She stared at it. "How long?" "Since Reno," Mason said. "You didn't say anything?" "I thought maybe it was Uber Eats." She smacked his arm. "Drive faster." The sedan didn't chase. It vanished around a bend like it had never existed. That was worse. At the next gas station, Rachel jumped out. Inside, she asked the cashier, "Any forest roads lead off Highway 49 near mile marker 172? The kid looked confused. No. That area's closed. Private. Signs all over." "What's back there?" He shrugged. "Dunno. Some rich guy bought up land in '09. Never saw him. Locals call it the Triangle." "Why?" He leaned in. "Because things go in and don't come back out." Rachel grabbed water, protein bars, and duct tape. "If we disappear, tell them we were headed into the Triangle." The kid nodded like she was joking. She wasn't. Back in the car, Mason checked the drone. "Battery's full. I can fly it ahead once we're close." Rachel didn't answer. She was staring at her phone. The coordinates were moving. "Mason," she said slowly, "GPS says our target is drifting. That's not possible. It moved 30 feet east since we left." His hands clenched. "What does that mean?" She whispered. "It means something's alive out there." The sun dropped below the ridge. The world turned gray. They turned off the highway onto a cracked path swallowed by trees. GPS flickered. Cell signal gone. Mason launched the drone. It hovered, whirring softly. He pushed the joystick. The feed lit up. A winding trail. Pine needles. A black object. He zoomed in. A shoe. A woman's sneaker. Dirty. Half buried. Rachel leaned in. Katie wore those. Then the camera glitched. A blur of static. Then a face. It wasn't human. Or maybe it used to be. Mason yanked the drone back. "Nope, nope, nope." Rachel stared into the monitor. "Zoom in again." "I'm not." "Do it." He did, frame by frame. The face smiled. Then the drone crashed. Not fell, crashed. Something knocked it out of the air. The screen went dead. Mason backed away. "We're not going in." Rachel stepped forward. "We're not stopping." He grabbed her arm. "You saw that thing." She pulled away. "I saw my sister's shoe." The woods moaned, like breath through broken glass. Something was moving. Rachel gripped the crowbar. "We go now." But from behind them, an engine roared to life. They turned. The black sedan blocked the road. No driver. Its door opened by itself. Inside, the drone, perfectly intact. And next to it, a cassette tape. Rachel whispered, "What the hell is this?" A voice came from the sedan speaker. "Pick it up." Mason stepped forward. Rachel grabbed his arm. "Don't." The voice spoke again. "Pick it up." He reached in. The tape was warm and labeled, "Play me or they'll die." Rachel stared at the cassette like it was radioactive. "They think this is a game," she said. Mason bent down slowly, lifted the tape. It was heavier than it looked. No label maker, just black marker, shaky and desperate. "Play me or they'll die." "What's the player?" he asked. Rachel looked around. Nothing but trees. Then her eyes caught it. A cheap tape recorder, half buried in leaves, still warm, no dust. Someone had placed it there minutes ago. Mason slid the tape in, pressed play. Click. Static. Then Katie's voice, raw, whispering. "If you found this, it means we failed. It means we didn't escape. It means someone else needs to try." Rachel dropped to her knees. Katie kept talking. "We thought it was land. It's not. It's a border between here and something else, something that doesn't want to be known. The tape clicked again. A second voice, not Ben. Male, tired, broken. They open doors out here. Real ones. Frequencies open them. That hum? It's not a sound. It's a signal. Then screaming, loud, wet, unnatural, followed by silence. Rachel slammed the stop button. No more. Mason didn't move. His face was pale. She said we. That means she was still alive. At least then. Rachel stood. There's more in that container. We missed something. They ran back, but something was different. The door, once ajar, was now sealed shut. No lock. No handle. Just rusted metal welded smooth. Rachel slammed her fist against it. Open, damn it! Her voice echoed like it hit water. Mason backed away. It wasn't like this before. No kidding, she snapped. A low hum rose. Not from the container. From beneath them. The ground vibrated. Mason stepped back. That's the same frequency. From the drone footage. Rachel dropped to one knee, pressed her ear to the dirt. Something's under us. The ground cracked. A hand burst through. Not a human hand. Longer. Too many knuckles. Gray skin. Flaking like burnt plastic. Rachel screamed. Mason yanked her away. The hand clawed at air, then retreated. The ground sealed itself. No mark. No trace. Mason fell backward, shaking. We need to go. This isn't about Katie anymore. Rachel grabbed his shirt. Yes, it is. She's down there. Or was. I'm not leaving. Then I'll call someone, he stammered. Who? The cops? Area 51? You think they'll believe us? The recorder clicked again. Mason hadn't touched it. A voice whispered through the speaker. You weren't invited. Rachel backed away. It's watching us, right now. The woods fell silent. No birds, no wind, just them, and the feeling they weren't alone. Then something moved between the trees, fast, too fast. Rachel pulled the taser. You see that? No, Mason muttered, but I felt it. Suddenly a figure stepped out. A woman, dirty, barefoot, face hidden by hair, hands shaking. Rachel stepped forward. Katie? The woman raised her head. It wasn't Katie, but she wore her clothes, and she spoke in Katie's voice. You shouldn't have come. Then she vanished. One blink. Gone. Rachel collapsed. It's using her, like a skin. Mason grabbed her arm. We need to leave, now. They turned back to the road, but there was no road, just forest, endless, dark. The cassette clicked once more and played back Mason's own voice. We need to leave, now. Only he hadn't said that yet. The hum deepened, louder, physical. Bones vibrated, teeth ached. The sky turned wrong, like heat ripple over metal. The trees bent, not with wind, but submission. Rachel grabbed Mason's wrist. Run! He didn't argue. They bolted. Branches tore skin. Roots grabbed ankles. Mason tripped once, twice. Where are we going? I don't know. Anywhere it isn't. The sound pursued them. No, surrounded them. Like it lived in their skulls now. Rachel stumbled into a clearing, stopped dead. A tower. Concrete. Half buried. Covered in moss. A red door at its base. Flickering light above. The same frequency blink they saw in the drone. Mason yanked her back. No. That's where it wants us to go. Rachel stared at the door. It's where she went. We saw the tapes. She's dead. Then let's die finding the truth. She didn't wait. She ran. Mason followed, screaming, You're not her. You're not Katie. The door opened before she touched it. Light spilled out, cold, white, clinical. Inside, a hallway. Metal floors. Fluorescent hum. They stepped in. The door slammed. The hum outside vanished. Inside, silence. Then a voice. Calm. Automated. Welcome, Subject 73. Mason froze. What did it say? Rachel stepped forward. I think it knows us. They turned a corner. Saw a wall of monitors. Dozens. All black and white. Each labeled with a name. Katie, Ben, others. Some marked expired. One still said, active, subject 41. Rachel's hand trembled. She's still alive. Suddenly a loud knock. Behind them, metal on metal. They spun. A man stood there. Gray jumpsuit, eyes burned out, smiling. "Don't be scared," he said. "They let me go." His voice was static. Rachel backed away. "Who are you?" "I was subject 19, but I learned how to behave." He reached out, fingers twitching unnaturally. "I remember light. I remember the hum in my veins." Mason stepped in front of Rachel. "Stay away." The man cocked his head. "You don't belong here." He lunged. Rachel swung the crowbar, cracked his jaw sideways. He didn't flinch. Then, silence again. Alarms blared. Red lights flashed. "Containment breach," the system said. "Subjects loose." Mason grabbed Rachel. "Now what?" She pointed down the hall. "Find the control room. Shut it down." Doors opened on their own. The building seemed alive. Each hallway worse than the last. One lined with mirrors. But the reflections moved wrong. Another full of static screens showing impossible footage. Katie screaming, but without sound. Finally, they found it. A glass room with a console. Hundreds of buttons. One lever marked Purge. Rachel stepped forward. "Do we shut it down or burn it out?" Mason pointed to a monitor. Katie, in a white room, breathing, alive. "We save her," he typed. "Access denied." He tried again. Voice required. Suddenly the speaker played Katie's voice again. "You came anyway. You always did." A slot opened. A card fell out. Mason grabbed it. "Key card. Run." They raced back. Every corridor blinked red. Sirens howled. Figures emerged, half-formed, glitching. Rachel swiped the key card. The door opened. Katie was on the floor, bruised, pale, eyes shut. Rachel screamed, "Katie!" Her eyes opened. "Took you long enough." Mason helped her up. "We have maybe 60 seconds." The wall cracked behind them. Something massive moved beyond it. An eye, blinking sideways. Rachel hit the lever. The building groaned. Katie whispered, "It won't let us go easy." The ceiling collapsed. They ran. At the surface, the light burst. The tower imploded. Trees fell like matchsticks. The hum died. Silence. They stood in ash. Sky blue. No shadow. Katie looked at Rachel. "It let me go because someone else took my place." Rachel whispered, "Who?" Katie looked at Mason. Behind them, the red door reopened, and it called his name, not his voice. Another. Mason didn't speak. He just stepped forward and smiled. "So now you know. It wasn't just a missing couple. It was a signal. And you've heard it too. Still think it's just a story? Then why is your screen flickering?